Today we're going to be talking about brand. You're going to have to forgive me, I'm a little tired, and it is potentially about to tornado in Nashville, so we'll see how things go. Today we're going to be talking about brand, as I just said, and how I got to the point in the decision and the clarity I generally feel with the sensible brand and just how a creative person can go about making a brand. So I really am like giving you like the sauce, the sauce. It took me literally over a year to sonically figure out what I wanted to do as a brand, but also it took me like, I started making music in 2019. So it's like I guess 5 years, but like I didn't really have any foundation at the beginning of 2019. But I feel like I really kind of figured it out within like 2023 to 2024 was I was spending a lot of time on Pinterest, a lot of time on Spotify, making playlists, making mood boards. Really on Miro, this is what this software is called. Miro, just like really trying to figure out like, okay, well, what do I like and why do I like it? Why do I think it's awesome? Why do I think it's cool? Why do I think certain things are not great for me but good for other people? Or what do I think is just not good? So this is generally what we're going to talk about today. I do want to kind of start off with a playlist that I was talking about. That not I was talking about that I made, and it is called. I don't really know how to say this word. It's actually from an Arca song. Um, but I had this idea of like music that sounded very electronic, that felt very hard, if you will, very extreme in a lot of ways. A lot of like it was like pushing the boundaries in a lot of ways. And there were some songs that I made in the past that were like that, but I didn't really understand why I was liking them. Or even just as I was listening to Spotify, I was like, okay, this is like something different. Like I want to make music that sounds like this. So this is what this playlist is, and it has Arca on it. It goes to K, Bladee, Varg, a lot of just Azealia Banks. I mean, literally, this is like the literal blueprint, especially that bondage track, the audaciousness of it all. A lot of this music is very in your face, club oriented music that has electronic beats. It's very easily understandable, but it's also very not for everyone at the same time. I like that contradiction a lot. So, I mean, you can literally see me taking the time from 2023 moving forward on. This is a public playlist, so you can still find this. But really, I wanted to find music that resonated with me, and I think that's what you should do if you're trying to build a brand and build like a sound and figure out what that is for you. Is just really make a playlist and be like, okay, this is the stuff, and like listen to that playlist a lot because that's what I did. And Spotify will feed you more stuff if you keep listening to the playlist a lot more, and you'll be able to, okay, yeah, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. I understand what I'm trying to do. But at the same time, I'm really big on note taking. So I was taking a lot of notes at the time. It wasn't in this kind of form. It was more like an Apple Notes situation where it was one-off things here and there. And as you can see, I talked about hard drums. That's literally was in the notes. And I was just thinking about like, okay, these are some of the things I like, or these are some of the phrases that I think are cool, and just really trying to take the time to put all of that stuff in a central location so I can start to put together the patterns. And this was AI was out, but I didn't really think about using like, AI can help me make stuff and make me like see the correlation between these two ideas that seem very separate in my head, and I know I like them, but I don't understand how they connect. Now we have like more sophisticated AI to do stuff like that, but I think you should also try to do it yourself. Like you make the meaning for what you want to do. Like seeking inspiration is definitely a thing that is on there, but I would say I don't use this section of the board so much, but I was definitely inspired by Selling Sunset and Free Associations. The idea of a proxy, or it's still kind of a vague thing in my head a little bit, but like literally the term subtext, like something being unsaid, but like putting that to the forefront. I thought about changing my name to Alias at one point. So terms like slates improper, etc. There's this like strange kind of ness about it that is like dark, but like that's kind of like really normal at the same time. It's like esoteric in a way. A lot of esotericism is in the Sensible brand for sure, without a doubt. Songs, all these songs that never came out, like definitely PC music is a big thing for me. And just kind of like parodying things like, oh, what if I made a mixtape that said that was the title of it was all these songs that never came out, but like literally it's out. So what are you talking about? Like, and it sounded like demos, but like also the demos are really good. So like, what are you talking about? Like it's very like confusing. Like you're never really sure where you are. Trisha Paytas has been a really big inspiration for me lately. Like she's a troll on the internet, but like sometimes she actually is like upset about things, but like sometimes she's just like not like you're never really sure where you stand. Um, the idea of like ripping something off, the idea of a parody, like, oh, the parody's better than the actual song, like that's interesting, especially because I wanted to kind of differentiate myself from PC music because they are like, oh, we're very serious about like the music we make. We're not parodies. We're, even though the music is can kind of come off that way sometimes, we're not parodies. We're legitimately into it. I'm like, well, what if I actually took hyperpop and like actually did it as a parody? What if I did it as a joke? What if I didn't really take it seriously? I don't really like hyperpop so much. I like the term hyperpop. I like hyperpop music that gets categorized like that, but I like more like club weird experimental music. I mean, that's literally hyperpop, but at the same time, no. Putting brackets around things, I really, Virgil Abloh is a really big inspiration for me. I think him, Duchamp, what's the guy with the Campbell's guy? God, I'm blanking on his name right now. But you know who to talk about? Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol. He's like, you only have to change something a little bit to make it totally something different. I'm a really big idea of that, especially using stem splitters, anything along those lines. I'm a real big fan of. Um, Media diet. I like that like term and phrase a lot. Like, okay, like what's your media diet? What are you into lately? But like also you're on a diet. Like aren't you supposed to be like losing weight, but you're like consuming things? These paradoxical things I'm really into. This section up here is more about like production things, as you saw, talk about parody music, extremeness, stem split. Literally, I was just talking about stem splitters, digital artifacts, and like literally, I have a whole album called S2 that is based off digital artifacts. Okay, you can't hear it when it's really low, but if I put a compressor on it or an amplifier, whatever it may be, you can really start to hear all of the craziness that is in this supposedly silent file. Things that are really repetitive. I really love pop music, but I also really like the idea of like, oh, this is really accessible, but like the music is still really hard to get at. It's amorphous in a way. It's really abstract. Intensity, definitely a lot of sped up music. Definitely a lot of Nightcore, Gabber, anything like that. Definitely dance. I think that's a huge thing with the Sensible brand. I think that really makes it like interesting, even though I haven't been putting out music that has drums in it at all. There is going to be music that is coming out soon that has drums in it that is dance focused. That is still going to be like kind of wonky. I don't want to necessarily be immediately understood. I want to be like, this person went for something and that was interesting. It was different. Like they really went for it. I don't really like doing things halfway. Um, I think you should go all the way. I think you should really try to give it your all. You really shouldn't be doing things. Well, to a degree, you should definitely practice things. And maybe you're not doing it well at the beginning, but definitely try. Trying is really big, and I think that's a really big thing for me in general. Just don't be afraid of being embarrassed. Don't be afraid of trying. Really trying to do something. I feel like that's something that's really been catching up with Doechii lately. Is that she has a long history on the internet of her like trying, and I think people really resonate, and that's like a gift that keeps on giving for her. So I wouldn't say Doechii is necessarily an inspiration for me, but in a way she clearly is because like I'm doing this right now, and honey, the videos are not getting views, but that's okay. I think I'll look back on them and really enjoy them. I was looking at some older videos of me from like 2022, and they were really inspiring. They weren't about music, but even then, there was like, okay, I was committed even back then to what I wanted to do. It was something different that I wanted to do, but you know. Anyways, I think that we should continue to talk about what's on the screen. So I really want to pay a lot of attention to this. Well, actually, we will get to this. This is like the real meat and potatoes, but some of the stuff is up here. Sometimes I like to take notes about like what kind of software I want to use when I'm making production or making music. I don't really use that note take like that anymore. I think that sometimes I had gear acquisition syndrome where I was always trying to like buy software or buy this or do that. And sometimes it can be fun to get lost in the sauce with production tools. But I think that it was becoming like I was more focused on the production tools instead of actually making music. And I live in Nashville, so there's a lot of people who make music here, and I see a lot of people like that, and I'm like, oh no 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 no. I want to make music. I want to perform. I want to be out and do stuff. I don't want to be locked up at a computer and just at a computer forever. Like that's not what interests me. I love producing. I love DJing, even at home. But like, and I love like just like making wonky shit. I love the creation part, but I also want to perform. Like that is also a form of creation, and that needs. I don't feel like people understand that a lot so much in Nashville. So up here it talks about a playlist album that really inspired me from like Drake and like More Life. How that's like a playlist and it's not an album, but I think that's kind of his best work. Um, and how like you can make playlists on Spotify and how that really ties into DJ culture. Like this, it's a whole thing. Auto loopers are kind of talking about like okay, like how can I do something that's gonna auto loop something or do something where I don't have to be super involved with it. I was really into like auto tune a lot in my early production era. Like, how can I get something that's gonna automatically produce for me? And like generative music, like how can I kind of remove myself from the production process where the software is gonna do the work, or I'm kind of like tinkering. I'm kind of being a not a composer, but like the person at the beginning of at the front of an orchestra. I think it's conductor. I'm being more of a conductor instead of a producer. And that lends my music to kind of being unique in that kind of way. It seems kind of different, even though I still am very hands on with like MIDI and all this other stuff now. But I still use a lot of like AI and like different things to still kind of be a little bit removed. I like being one step removed, just left of center, not directly at center, just left of it or right of it or whatever it may be. Um, Definitely isolated music. I talked enough about that. Hard drums. I talked enough about that. Ableton Live Session View. I thought about using that at one point, but I don't think it's for me. I rather just kind of record stuff and just free associate instead of just. I mean, that's literally what Session View is, but Ableton's kind of funky for me. I like to use Ableton more like a VST. So I'm doing certain things in Ableton and then I bring it into Logic. Logic's my main DAW. So that's what I like to do. Also, let me talk a little bit about this as well. So when I say in Stupido remix from Technique from E-Waste, like I was recording, I was literally screen recording on my phone. It was recording the audio, the system audio, and then I would loop it back directly on itself through literally the Scrabble player where you can like you want to jump 30 seconds ahead, 30 seconds behind. I was literally just doing that over and over and like kind of mixing, DJ mixing on my phone. So that honestly, that this whole thing experiment I didn't even know what DJing really was until I did this. And then I like did some more research and I was like, oh, this is what DJing is like. You're just like looping stuff and you're like doing different stuff. I surprisingly don't loop a lot in my DJ sets. That's something I'm working on. I was working on that earlier today. It's like, how do I loop more? How do I get things to be more like weird and like strange? Like, there's this type of music where people do like loop pedal music, and I want my DJ sets to feel like that, where I'm looping a lot of different stuff, and you never really know where you are in the DJ set, but it's like really funky, like trance music, but like I'm making the trance live. So live trance music, though, that's what I'm trying to go for. At least with the DJ sets at this current time, that definitely will change. Visual wise, I feel like I didn't talk a lot about that. I was really into like cute dogs and cute pixelated animals, so I was like really into the Tin Dogs at one point. Um, Obviously, my art direction doesn't go that direction anymore, but you definitely might see that again in the future. Augmented reality image that came from like a image on Pinterest where I'm not gonna put it on the screen, which makes me not want to talk about it. But basically, it was a bunch of scanned images of a layout or like let's say a forest, and it was like positioned different ways spatially, so they weren't really layered on top of each other quite properly. And you can like side scroll this. If you this kind of reminds me a lot of if you ever did a panorama shot and then like you did a circle and then you came back halfway on that semicircle back to where you were, and the image tries to line up, but it doesn't line up quite right. That's exactly how that image kind of looked. It was like wonky. So I wanted to like save that idea for like ChatGPT if I was making art through generated means, or just even for myself. I just wanted to be cognizant of like, okay, you can do like wonky stuff with like imagery. Um, what is this down here? So let's see here. I guess I'll talk about this imagery too because this is very related. I was pixelated animals. Uh, this type of Y2K ish stuff. It's not really Y2K. I don't really know how to describe it, but this is like very familiar, very doable, very accessible artwork that I could do myself. And I was really inspired by that. And I just kind of like how it looks. There's a good juxtaposition between the white space and the black. This is something that's gonna happen definitely coming up soon. It's like me putting like poetry phrases. My songs have had a lot more poetry based titles lately, and they're going to continue in the future. That was inspired by Lana Del Rey and her like sentence long track names. I think every track should be like that. I'm really into world building, and how can I make every opportunity as an artist a step closer to world building? I specifically got that piece, the world building piece from Charli XCX. Like, she does so much stuff towards world building that I think is really important. I think artists create worlds for other people to reside in. They don't just like I don't want to just make music. I want to make visuals. I want to make a music video. I want to make a fashion line. I want to make an attitude. Like I want to an approach to going through to tackling art and tackling life and just living life. I want to do that. That's a lot more interesting to me than just making music. I've always struggled with like just how do I say this? Looking at things small thing. I need a lot of stimulation. I need a lot of stimulation in order to do something. So I think looking at it from like a universal like, oh my god, this is so much bigger than me really helps me make music. Because if I just think like, oh, I'm just typing on a keyboard or I'm putting notes on a piano roll, like how mundane, right? I could be doing something more that's gonna say something more than just like a few notes. Um, yeah, so there's that. Um, Media diet, Spotify font. I was really into like, the idea of parodies and like parodying brand. Like, what if I just took like Spotify's font and then stock images and just like put this poetic text over them and then put like this music that was like really funky and weird over it. And that reminds me of like very early day PC music type stuff. And like Sophie a lot too. Like the slides, like why are the slides on the music? Like it's really weird. Like this is really strange, but the music's really good, or it's like really weird at least. So I think that's what I've been trying to like capture, like synthetic media. Like this is like falsely produced. Hopefully you can't hear this person honking their horn. As I said earlier, contradiction. I think a lot about the club in my head. Like, how are people gonna dance to this? Where are they gonna dance this? I think that's really useful for newer artists. Like, where are people gonna play this music? Like, where are they gonna be? Are they at home? Are they out and about? Are they in Nashville, Tokyo? Are they in Ibiza? Like, where are they? Ibiza? Where are they? Where are they? And I think this is another related thing. I just want it to be fun, predictable, and familiar, but I also want to like not do that at the exact same time. I want music that feels boring, that does not feel boring. Uh, make boring music that feels challenging. That is like the summation of like what I'm trying to do with my music. Make boring music that feels challenging. Hello. I don't know how to do that. It sounds really incredibly hard, but we're trying. I think that this video is kind of helping me figure it out as I go. What's the concept of a remix? Like, what makes something a remix? I try to make music that feels already remixed coming out. And I think that's something that Chase Icon has been doing a lot with the song Illegally Blonde. It already sounds like it's the remix of itself. Like, the second half of the song is like breaking down. Same thing with like 365 by Charli XCX. Like, the song is literally, it's already a remix itself, but it's already like remixing as the song goes on. It's literally like disintegrating as it progresses. I have a song that's like that that's coming out. In fact, I think just it's gonna be the next single. My current single is "You're Not the Only One That's Afraid of Losing Something." It's out everywhere. Stream it. But the next one, I'm not gonna give you the title right now. I haven't totally thought of it, but it's coming out, and that's gonna be the next single. It's fucking amazing. Um, yeah, I think this whole video is. I feel like this has been worth it. I was tired and I was like unsure, but I think this video was worth it. I made a video prior to this and it didn't go well. I wasn't able to download it and upload it, but that's okay. We have this video. I've already talked about auto looper and auto chopper. Those are the same thing. Looping VSTs. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. Using VSTs like DAWs. You can use FL Studio inside of Logic and use it as a VST. Just look it up like FL Studio as a VST and you'll find it. I really think of like, okay, I'm gonna use this. There's another one called Soundtrap. I'll make certain things in Soundtrap, which is like a DAW by Spotify. I'll make certain things in Ableton. I'll make certain things in GarageBand. I'll make certain things in Logic, and then I'll all put them together into another in Logic or my home studio, the home DAW that I'm working in for that project. You don't have to work in just one DAW, and I feel like some people don't think like that. It can be very time consuming. I think it works for me because I'm a solo producer. I'm not working with anybody else. I would love to work with other people. Like, definitely comment if you want to collab. But I, at this current time, I'm just by myself, so I can kind of be hectic. And I wish I was working with somebody because honestly, I would probably feel more pressure to actually produce. But we don't have that right now, so it's okay. Um, I would love to if someone is listening to this, I would love to make a band like EQ. Um, yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to make music like that. They make fantastic shit. As I said earlier, Extreme Audacity. There's this idea of non-advertising music, so music that isn't really trying to prove a point or really trying to sell somebody something. Sophie makes music like this. Aphex Twin, I feel like, makes music like this. Like, it's not really trying to like convince somebody of anything. It's just really just trying to be itself, and I know that's the kind of music I want to make. Non-meta music is kind of like that as well. Like, it's not trying to do anything like after the fact. In a way, I feel like I'm contradicting myself, but that's like kind of the fucking point. Like, bitch, nothing makes sense. Like, you make the meaning, you make it up, you give it the meaning, you do. Except if you don't want to, then no. Yeah. Also, the idea of like looping something for like 8 seconds is like a big thing. I forget exactly where this stems from, but there's like this music software. I know it had like 8 seconds on it, or like an 8 bar loop, or in like every bar is 1 second. Like, so you do kind of get what I'm saying. Like, there's 8 seconds, and you can like loop 8 seconds, and you can. There was some other software that you could like produce music, but it was only for like 8 seconds, and you could just kind of make music based off these 8 seconds loops. Also, I think the idea of like 8 seconds really isn't that long, but it kind of is. At the same time, like, you get a timer out and like look at the watch for 8 seconds. Like, it's kind of long. So yeah, there's that. Don't bore me, but also like make boring music. Contradiction. Like, what is going on here? I had an album called Hannikin at one point, and it was based off of like samples of music from other people, and the idea was like to distort the sample so much that nobody could recognize where the sample came from. And I would say generally that was successful for me. I don't think that music was necessarily marketable, but also don't be marketable, but be marketable. Like, I sound cuckoo magoo, but that's okay. Um, yeah, I was gonna make another project like that, and that might happen. Who knows? Probably not though. But I wanted to finish this experimental project that I was working on. That experimental project has progressed into something totally different. Um, yeah, we're not going to talk too much about that, but that's going. I fear if I talk about it, it's not going to come out. But we definitely are going to at least release another single for sure. The idea of a playlist artist, like DJing, like, that's enough said. Top 40. Make music that's boring, but not boring. We've talked about a lot of this. Copyright, Hannikin, the Nick Hanna thing. Like, okay, like, take music, take samples, destroy them to the point where people can't identify them. Places I shouldn't go. I shouldn't go to erotica. I shouldn't sample copyrighted music. I shouldn't sample porn. I shouldn't sample all this stuff, but I'm doing it anyway. I pushing boundaries. XYZ. I'm a really big fan of Bram Ranch. I think his name is Tom McDonald or something like that. Huge inspiration for me as an artist. I think he's so cool. Uh, the idea of like fans making albums from like leaked tracks from artists. So like XCX World is a bunch of leaked tracks. It actually is a full album, but like also there's sometimes I've done this as well where I'll get a whole bunch of like leaks from like an artist and then make a concept album for that the leaks. Like that's deranged, but it's also really slay because it's like an album, but it's not an album. Like okay, we ate you up. We ate you up. Literally rip off as an album title. Like I'm ripping this music off, but I'm ripping myself off. That's what the whole idea of Sin Symbol came from. Was like, I somebody hacked my old pseudonyms account, which was Slayton, and they stole my music and then uploaded it to my Slayton Spotify, posing as him as that's really him. There was an incident that happened like that with like Kanye West and I think a couple of other artists. Like people were uploading their actual leaked music to the main Spotify account. What? That makes no sense. It's leaked music, and you're uploading it to the main account. That's wild. So Sin Symbol's kind of based off that. It actually is directly based off like a stan or some crazy fan coming and like stealing my stuff and like trying to upload it. Um, I I don't know if I'll ever get to this project. I'm always working on like a billion different things, but breaking down hits and like reconstructing them. So like songs from the Billions Club, that's a playlist on Spotify where the song has a billion streams. I was going listening through that playlist and finding songs I liked, and then I was gonna break them apart with the stem splitter, so get the vocals, the drums, and the bass or whatever, and then like figure out, okay, well, why is this a good bass or why is this a good vocal? And I was as I was doing that project, I found out that some of it's marketing, a lot of it's marketing, a lot of it's the vocal, and the rest of it's kind of like whatever, because the drums weren't really that interesting. The Nothing else was really interesting about the songs. And there were several. Levitating by Dua Lipa, I think, was one of the songs as well. Like the bass is kind of cool on that, but like it's really like the marketing around the person that makes the song. The song is good, but like it's also like it's nothing really special about the song. At the same time, is that it's. I guess what makes that song special is that it's not bad. I love that song, but like I also like don't go out of my way to stream Levitating. But yet some people did because it had a lot of streams. That's like 3 billion. So it's like one of those. It's like a classic pop thing. It's like lowest common denominator, mass appeal. How do I do that, but make it challenging? Yeah, I don't know. Uh, yeah, I was thinking about making more music that was based off like converting drum patterns from like MIDI stuff because you can convert pretty much anything to MIDI. And if you don't know what MIDI is, it's basically like a programming language for music. Um, yeah, I do that, but I don't think that's worth really talking about. That's very like straightforward. And you can like do cool stuff like MIDI effects to the thing. You can use like JavaScript and all this other stuff. But I'm not here to really talk about that. Actually, I am. What am I talking about? I think we talked about everything. I'm glad I did this. Sometimes I get frustrated making videos, but I feel like this was worth it. I know this file is going to be like 30 gigabytes long, but that's okay. Hopefully YouTube will take it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really is making my dream come true. I wish you could see my face right now. You can, but I'm not gonna pull it up. It really does help a lot. Like they were not joking. Also, being consistent on YouTube, not hard. Very hard. What am I talking about? It's very hard. Um, yeah, that's it. I'm tired. I'm probably gonna go eat. And hopefully I don't die because there's gonna be a tornado tonight. Hopefully not though. Bye. Love you guys.